So we are back on Toka Musik, and we're here with Sofia. Sofia, thank you for being here.
No problem.
As we always do on Toka, please introduce yourself.
My name is Sofia. I am the Chief Community Officer at Beatport. Beatport is one of the major stakeholders in the IMS conference.
Amazing. How do you see IMS's impact on the region with its Dubai debut conference?
Yeah, I think IMS is sort of known in the electronic music industry as a real central point for labels and booking agents and promoters to meet. And it's had that reputation now for many years, and it's been successful in what it's done. And I think it means a lot to the MENA region that they've chosen MENA to come here. I think it shows a lot of belief, a lot of conviction that this region is very important to the rest of the world. I think the fact that you see so many people here today, it's sold out, just shows how much there is a need to hold conversation, to bring people together, to network. I'm seeing so much networking today. I'm already exhausted. With these things, it can always be a risk. But I think IMS made the right decision.
Beautiful. How do you compare the MENA region to other key markets in the industry? And what would you do differently, and how do you see it progressing in the future?
Yeah, I think MENA region is quite an interesting one because first, if you look at the word MENA and you look at all the countries under the banner, sometimes it's surprising to think that all of these are just bunched into one.
Yes.
Because they're different cultures and different languages even, and you think, wow, should it be MENA? But in some ways, the MENA banner creates a bit of strength also, because there are shared nuances between these regions, and if one artist is popping off in Egypt, the other regions can get behind them and really help them become globally successful. I think one thing that I hear consistently about the region is that there is a discrepancy between the consumption of music and the revenue that's being generated, and that is something hopefully they can fix in the future, because if they can help fix that, then that means more investment into music. So I think that's the very unique thing about this region, that the consumption is there, but the revenue generation is not so much.
I totally agree. How do you see MENA women's role in the industry, and what would, in the capacity of your role at Beatport, champion those women globally?
Yeah, I think it's so important. It's important for women in general all across the world. Women are still struggling to be seen and heard. It's not something that's specific to this region, it's worldwide. But I think it's changing, and I think men are a very important part of that change as well. It's not something that women can do alone. We need the support of men to help champion us and help us be seen and heard. But the electronic music industry is also unique with this issue, because you look at other genres and women are flourishing, like pop, etc. But electronic music continues to be dominated by men. And sometimes these things are just a consequence of an environment that has occurred in the past. And I don't believe in looking at things so negatively. Yes, this has happened. Yes, this is how it's been in the past, but we can impact it in the future. And that's by all of us contributing to the change, helping women, whether it's through production, mastering, giving them all the help that they need so they can flourish. I do think there is still a challenge in that a lot of men see music as their home and their future career, whereas for some women it's like, oh really, could I make a career in music?
Big risk.
So I think a part of it is also bringing that confidence in women that they can make music, they can have this as a permanent career choice. So I think the fact that you've asked me this question is a real big positive. I have this question asked to me a lot, which is a good thing. It means that it's becoming part of a regular conversation, and it means that only good things can come from here.
I love how you ended that. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Okay, so we saw a rise in Arab artists in the electronic music scene in recent years. However, we mostly hear them leaning towards Western trends and Western sounds.
Yeah.
In your point of view, what are the key aspects to taking the Arab sound to the global stage?
Yeah, I think it's wider than just electronic music. I remember the first time I heard some Arab sounds in a big major song was Gorillaz. They had the Arab orchestra, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? And I remember just listening to the tune over and over
and over again.
Is it galvanized?
No. Galvanized was Chemical Brothers. No.
I think it's White Flag.
Yes,
The
yes,
song
yes,
is called
yes.
White Flag. And I was just like, wow, just the sounds in there, the Arabic sounds. And I think that's why I say it's wider than electronic music. I think the region needs to develop concert halls.
Yes.
It needs to develop and celebrate the instruments that come from the region. And that will then result in an impact in electronic music. I don't think electronic music can do it alone. I do see a big focus and emphasis on electronic music, but I do think we should be emphasizing other genres as well, especially instrumental music. I think instrumental music is a lot more accessible for a lot of people, especially those from more religious backgrounds. I think electronic music can be quite scary for some people. They look at it and they think drugs, drink, clubbing, etc. So I think just having a little bit more of a wider approach. When I've been to Saudi Arabia for some of their festivals, and it's quite intense what I'm seeing. And I just wish there was more of that sort of bringing about what already exists in the region. And like I said, that tune, it just works so beautifully because it allows the Arabic, the sounds just to shine. So it's inevitable that, and this happens I went to Tokyo recently, and it's the same there. The artists look at global artists and they think, okay, I need to imitate. It's like, no, actually the Western people out there, they want to hear like sounds from Japan, and they want to hear in the same way like Arabic sounds. They don't want to hear you trying to be David Guetta, and there's already a David Guetta.
I play Fairuz in Europe, and they just all go like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Fairuz is an iconic.
Yeah,
person.
and you can hear it. You can hear it when it's not authentic and when it's trying to be an imitation.
Exactly.
And that's natural when a region is new to making music, or if it feels behind, it's gonna think, okay, if I imitate this sound, then I can flourish and shine. But I also do think that a lot of these global artists would be more interested in artists from this region if they were their own sound and celebrating that. Like, the scope for collaboration would be a lot larger. I've worked on a lot of records. I've done music PR in the past. And for example, there was one guitarist who combined with a sarangi player. It's like a beautiful instrument in India. And then I also worked on Junoon, which is Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, and he worked with the Rajasthan Express Orchestra.
Wow.
And he worked with them because they sound so beautiful. It's got the Rajasthani sounds in there. And you watch the video and Johnny's trying to be like really stiff and like kind of the Western way of making music, and then the guys from the orchestra, they literally go, whatever Allah wants, Allah will get, and you see this and you're just like, wow, this is so beautiful because they're being themselves. And that's what attracted him to that orchestra. It's not that they sound like something in London, it sounds very much like from Rajasthan. So I think it'll only foster more collaborations if you can celebrate your own sound. But again, you don't want to force that either. If Western sounds appeal to you more, then that's fine, but don't force it, into that direction.
100%. All right, now we're going to switch it up a bit. We're going to go with our usual 14 facts, the best ones, the 14 facts questions we always ask.
Okay.
So if you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
A superpower? Oh wow, that's an interesting one. I think if I had a superpower, I'd like to help people with their loneliness.
Oh, that's
so.
The first time we get that. Is beautiful.
I think so.
Wow.
I see this all the time. Like, I like to talk to people, whether it's in a shop, in the streets, I'll just strike up a conversation. Like, even on the way here, I met a girl in the airport. She was from Lebanon. I spoke to a woman on the airplane from Iran. And everyone's feeling this sort of uneasiness right now in the world and feeling loneliness.
We're from Lebanon, so we feel that.
Okay. Actually, I should put you in touch with her. She's so nice. She's just moved to Dubai.
Everyone, half of Dubai is Lebanon right now.
Yeah, she's such a nice person to talk to, and I just see this constant theme of people feeling lonely. And it's so strange because we're in a time where the world's so connected through technology, yet people are still feeling so lonely. So I would, if I had a superpower, it would be to help people with that.
That's beautiful. I mean, they tend to say for Lebanese people, like, we're the happiest depressed people in the universe. It's sad, but I mean, we always try to see the light at the end of the tunnel in a way or another. Hopefully better times are coming.
Yeah.
All right, so one person you dream to have a coffee with and why? Dead or alive? No need
Dead
to.
or alive, a person to have a coffee with. I don't drink coffee.
Tea?
It makes my heart race. A tea, it would have to be a tea. Dead or alive? I can't think of an individual person, but where my family's from, it's the very north of Pakistan. It's like the Indus Valley region, and there's been a lot of history there with like a lot of spiritual religions in the past. Even Islam back then was very spiritual.
Yeah.
I would love to go back to that time and to really experience what that whole region was like when it had this other culture, and really see my roots, come to life. Yeah, I would love that. That's not quite the answer.
No, I mean, it's not. Anyone from that time you would sit and have a
I
discussion
would love to
with.
sit with the people from that time and learn about, the faith that they had and their beliefs, etc. And yeah, it would be beautiful just to go back to a time before all the current faiths existed and what was back then, which seems to have been a more spiritual belief system.
Nice. I mean, speaking of Pakistan, could you recommend a hidden gem in Pakistan that would fit a perfect rave?
That would fit?
A perfect rave. That's a question we always ask.
A hidden gem that would...
In your home country, that would fit a perfect rave or an event.
A rave?
Yes.
A perfect rave?
Yeah.
I think when I think of music in Pakistan, you can't ignore weddings.
Yeah.
There's so many weddings, and then there's always the drumming,
Yeah.
and I love the drum sound. You see it in like Hindu culture, in the temples, you see it in the weddings in Pakistan. So I think if there was going to be like a rave with Pakistan influence, it would be all those men drumming at weddings, like turning up and like drumming away and adding to the rave. Yeah.
Nice. Last but not least, fun fact about yourself that most of your family and friends don't know.
Oh, that my family and friends don't know.
Or whoever you work with, or any fun fact that we always ask that.
Fun fact. A fun fact that a lot of people don't know is that before I was born, my dad promised his brother he could name me. And when I was born, they couldn't get hold of him.
Okay.
Because, phone lines back then. And so my dad said, what do I do? And because I had no name for a while. And then my grandfather said, please call her Sophia. So for 3 months, I had the name Sophia.
Yeah.
Until my dad's brother called 3 months later and said, I have her name, it's Shaista. And my dad was like, oh, okay. And said, hey, everyone. He'd already registered my name as Sophia.
Yeah.
And said to everyone, listen, her name is not Sophia anymore, it's Shaista. So I grew up thinking my name was Shaista. And when I went to Pakistan and at the airport they said Sophia, and I said, well, they just called me Sophia. And my mum said, oh, that's just your passport name.
Oh, wow.
And then I remember going to the doctor and they said Sophia, and my mum said, oh, that's just your doctor's name. And I believed it. I thought, okay, my name is Shaista, but I have a doctor's name and a passport name.
Wow.
And it was only till I was 15 and in school and doing exams, they asked everyone to submit, like make sure the legal name. And they submitted Sophia, and my school freaked out. They were like, we've been calling you Shaista. What if something happened to you? We had to take you to the doctors, sort of thing. And then the school was like, okay, from now on, we're calling you Sophia. That's your name. And I was like, oh, okay, Sophia.
That must have been weird transitioning to a new
Yeah,
name.
it was interesting because then for me, it was like a new beginning.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, and I started warming into being Sophia. And I remember one day my mum saying, I don't like this new you, there's too much Sophia in you. And my mum still to this day calls me Shaista. But I'm glad my name is Sophia. But yeah, a lot of people don't know that for many, many years I didn't go by the name Sophia.
Wow.
So yeah,
It's
bit of a
fun
weird
one.
story.
Nice. Cool. Thank you so much, Sophia.
No worries.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
No problem.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hope that was okay.
No, that was perfect.